The next slide is member ages. I think this is interesting. You get that up, Z? I'll go ahead and give you a rundown on that. We have 5 members that are over 90, and we have 5 members in their 20s. Most of the members categories are in their 50s and 60s. So we've got about 140 in their 60s and 128 in their 50s. The average age of our club is 54. And I'm 61, so I'm starting to feel a little bit old. I used to think I was a junior member, but I guess not anymore. But anyway, I think that's great. You know, I think we need to continue as our legacy, continue building, you know, getting younger people in here. And that's what Drew did prior to Victoria, helped assisting in that and trying to draw younger members. And I know many of you all have had your families, some of your family legacy have members that have joined as well. So we need to continue driving that. The next item I want to talk about just some of the things we've accomplished in 2022. We built a new cart barn, got new carts finally in the fall, took a while. We resurfaced the parking lot, did some work on the sidewalks, pickleball sidewalks and some new stairs. You know, we replaced the tee boxes on number 2 and 12 with neon zoysia, put a guardrail on number 2. We got some new fitness equipment, 3 treadmills and some stationary bikes. Got a new tennis court roller and some new kitchen equipment. Hired a new chef. Did some restroom enhancements both in the clubhouse and on the course. And then we I think greatly improved our junior golf program with the PGA, and also we upgraded our aesthetically around the clubhouse. We got a lot of compliments on all the flyers and all the stuff that we did around the clubhouse to make it more appealing. So there were a lot of accomplishments in 2022. There's a few people, I don't know if they're here, that I'm probably missing somebody. I know a lot of people in here contribute to our success, but I would like to point out a few people. One is Ed Davis. Is Ed here? I don't think Ed's here. Ed is on our long-term capital planning committee. And if you know Ed, he actually was in charge of this construction project for the bridge on the main drive here. And as part of that, they discovered that there was some erosion going on with our cart bridge down there on number 16. And Ed really took the lead on that with MSD. And the end result was they ended up reinforcing that bridge with a lot of concrete. It would have cost us $25,000, but he was able to put that into that project for the main road. So it saved us about 25. And he's been a great addition to our long-term capital planning committee. Also, Alan Kingsbury. Alan, he's always willing to step up and do whatever's necessary. He was instrumental in a lot of the concrete and paving work that we've done. And he's also working on the new patio pavilion. He's already taken out those planters if you walk by there this morning. So he's been great. Also, Michael Primavera, he helped us a lot on the cart barn. And then Brian Aarons, who did a lot of the work on his own time on a lot of these artwork and pictures and photographs that we have in the clubhouse. So thanks for that, Brian. And Scott Potter has been very instrumental. We're redoing our tennis facility, starting with court 1 and 2. And with his expertise and interest in that, he's been a very important part of that. Also, Gant and his wife, Sarah, who isn't here, as I said earlier, he's been instrumental. They did a lot of work. They've helped a lot, but also were instrumental in the flyers, getting those flyers that we had for the front entrance at a real low price. So anyway, thank you all for that. One thing I want to talk about, this is probably my least favorite subject of this whole presentation. Basically, as everyone knows, we all experienced the inflation that occurred in 2022. You know, inflation was up 7-8%. We're all experiencing at the gas pump, restaurants, clothes, whatever we bought this year, we all paid more for it. Well, unfortunately, Hunting Creek is no different. You know, we saw our wages go up anywhere from 10 to 12%. And our wages are over half of our overall expenses to run our club. And as a result of that, we had to raise wages for two reasons. One, to retain the employees we had, and then secondly, to attract new employees. So that was a big hit. So financially, it was a struggling year based on trying, because we really didn't have any way to cut, to cover those additional costs. In addition to that, food costs went up, paper supplies, oil and fuel for our maintenance of our golf course, fertilizer, repairs and maintenance, everything went up. So we did the best we could. We still experienced a loss. The good news is that we had some carryover employee retention credits that we had received based on all the tax credits that the government provided, and that carried over and helped offset some of that loss. In addition to that, we had a really strong 2021 financially and a strong 2020. So we're fine. We're in great shape. But we do have to increase our dues to cover the ongoing, because those costs aren't going down. So we've got a new, the board at the last meeting a couple meetings ago approved a new due schedule. And if you'll pull that up for those that can't see it, I'll go through. We're going to increase our operating dues for a full member. It's currently 500. It's going to go up to 560. For seniors, 325 to 365, social 245 to 275, juniors 335 to 375, and tennis from 285 to 320. Those increases will provide enough money to offset the inflationary impact that we had in 2022. In addition to that, we're going to, and I'm going to talk more about capital here in a minute, we're going to increase our quarterly capital dues. On a full golf, it goes up from 225 a quarter to 280 a quarter. Social, 125 to 155. Juniors, 169 to 210. And then tennis, 125 to 155. Those are capital dues that go towards the capital improvements that we're going to talk about momentarily. So anyway, sorry to share that one piece of bad news, but I've talked to a lot of people. I don't think you're surprised by that. Got a lot of expenses in the club. We all want the club to prosper and do well from an operation standpoint, and it's just necessary to do that. All right. We'll talk a little bit now about our vision. This is a pretty straightforward slide of as a club where we want to take us to the next level, and we certainly plan on taking the club to new heights. On the top line, the main things that we're focused on at a high level are to enhance and add to our facilities. Troon gets a lot of information, and we're members as a club of the Private Country Club Association, and they put out a lot of articles this year. What is really driving success in private clubs are additional facilities, whether it's outdoor dining, like we're doing with the patio pavilion, or pickleball courts, or additional luxuries, places to eat outside, fire pits, those kind of things. That's really what's driving success in clubs. And for us to be successful, we're going to have to continue building on what we've done so far in this room and in the Partridge Lounge, and make this place continue to grow, continue to improve, continue to enhance. So that's what we plan on doing. As I mentioned earlier, we've had 315 new members in the last 10 or 12 years. In order that when Lisa brings people through here, if they see things that are being done, progress being made, I think they'll realize that this is a club that's on the move, and it'll entice them more to join. Providing signature service. I mean, that's a given. I mean, we all want to be served at a high level in all departments, whether it's, somebody cleaning your golf clubs to obviously the food and beverage. So improving our service, and we'll continuously strive for excellence in that area. Great golf course. As I said earlier, I think we got the greatest golf course in the state, but you got to continue working on it. Try to get rid of the zoysia, try to make the greens faster, try to make the bunkers better, putting the neon zoysia down on tee boxes. So we need to continue investing in our golf course and make it in prime condition for the events we have and for our members. We spend our budget for the golf course this year is $1.1 million. So it costs a lot. That's a big subsidy of what our dues go towards. And then focus on the food and beverage area and as it relates to service, as it relates to quality of the food, consistency of the food, and also menu selection. And that's what Brian and his team, Brian Clare and his team are going to be working on. And we got a lot of feedback at the last fall before last, the survey that we did. There was a lot of comments about food and beverage. So we are going to make changes there and make improvements because we want to make sure that it's the preferred place for you all to come up and dine. So all that leads to an exceptional member and guest experience, allows us to retain and attract new members, and it makes Hunting Creek an excellent place to be. You know, we are at the top of the clubs in the city of Louisville. You know, we're all a little bit different. You know, we're in that same category, I think, as Louisville Country Club, Hurstbourne, Big Spring. But we got to be Hunting Creek Country Club. You know, we can't be any of those. We got our own identity, and we got to be the best version of ourselves, and that's what our vision is to keep on striving for. Talk about the 2023 action items and goals that we have for this year. I mentioned earlier, it's all about continuous improvement. This is just a high level look. We're going to focus on enhancing our member communication with you all. And Barb's going to take the lead on that, working with Zeke and Lisa. Our agronomist focus on the teas and greens, as I mentioned earlier. We're going to finish out the neon zoysia on 2 and 12, and there might be some others that we do. But I'll talk a little bit about Troon in a minute. But you know, they have professional golf maintenance people, and they come into town and work with Brian and the committee, as well as Jason, our superintendent, to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make our course in top shape. So we're going to be really ramping that up. They have a schedule that they focus on things that need to be done throughout the year. So that's going to be a point of emphasis this year. Our plan is for 54 new members, and we expect to have 20. I mean, we budgeted for 23 attrition, which gets us, 33 attrition. That gets us to net 21 new members, which will be a great thing. Those initiation fees, as I mentioned, they've gone up. And, if we can get 54 new members at the new initiation fee rate, we're going to be doing great. We really need to grow our catering business, events business. I'll talk about that as far as where you all can come in on that and help. We want to grow it by 30%. 30%. We don't do enough banquet and event business. It's a more profitable venture for us than our regular food and beverage, and we need to grow that. We're going to be increasing our food and beverage training and making sure that we've got standard operating procedures to improve the overall member experience. I mentioned menu variations and specials. We're going to also, as it relates to pool, have more consistency in our lifeguards and rule enforcement. And then, as I mentioned, Barb and her team are creating and have a great social and events calendar for everyone's participation. Let me move over to the capital plan. I mentioned earlier that we developed or we established a long-term capital planning committee earlier this year. Gant's a member of that. Ed Davis, Gibbs Reese. Where's Gibbs? He's in here. Gibbs is a member of that. He's the architect as well. So we've got a great team assembled. I think Ron Peterson and Mark McAdams are members as well. And the purpose of that committee is really to plan out instead of waiting for something to happen and then saying, well, where are we going to get the money and what we need to do? Planning out what the next 5 years look like from a capital standpoint, so everybody can sort of work towards that. If you don't know, we have two separate accounts. We've got our operating account, which is to run our club, and we also have our capital accounts. They're two separate accounts completely. What funds the capital account are two things. One is the quarterly capital dues that we all pay. A big portion of that goes to cover our debt service that we incurred for our clubhouse renovation. But there is some, maybe $100,000 of that is excess to be used for capital projects. The other source is initiation fees. There was a time where we had to put all initiation fees towards operations because we had to cover the operating cost. We're, as I mentioned earlier, in a lot better, stronger financial shape. We're now able to take 100% of the initiation fees and put that in the capital account. So with 54 new members at 15,000, and depending on what membership category, that creates a lot of money that's going to be used for a lot of different things that we have planned going down the road. So the 5-year capital plan, just at a high level, a few things. One of the things that I want to mention is we're working on trying to build some reserves. Many of you have condos down in Florida or wherever, and you know that each of those condo associations or a homeowner association, they put aside money. This clubhouse is eventually going to need to be renovated or redone. You know, I mean, it looks great now, but you know, down the road, we're going to have to spend some money on it. You know, roof, blacktop, those kind of things. So we're working on this concept of trying to put some of our capital resources in a reserve. So we'll have a reserve for those things that we need down in the future. But I'm excited to tell you our plan is pretty firm for 2023 on what we're planning on doing. We're going to spend about $677,000 this year. That's a lot. It's one of the biggest years that, other than the clubhouse renovation that we've had in our history, more likely. But who's excited about the patio cover? All right, there you go. That's been something that's been strongly desired for people. And I think it's going to be, you know, get there early so you can get a seat. I think it's going to be well received, and we're really excited about that. They started work on it on Friday. They're going to be here on Monday in earnest. We're going to have that done, not like the golf carts. We're going to have that done on May 1st. Yeah, I can promise you it won't be like the golf carts, all right? You heard it from me. May 1st, we'll be sitting there watching the Derby. All right. Also, maybe a long neglected area was the tennis facility. It's an important part of our club. You know, before I really got involved, I'm like, why do we even have tennis? You know, I'm a golfer. But it's important like everything else. There's members that love tennis. There's members that love golf. There's a lot of people that go to the pool. It's important that we continue to invest in that. And I mentioned earlier, our membership in our tennis category has been consistent. I mean, the people that are members, they love this place. So the courts are in need of improvement, drainage, and so on. So we've got a 4-year plan to renovate that. This year, many of you have probably seen courts 1 and 2 were in the worst shapes. I talked to Scott and Ansley last night, and they said it looks great. The drainage is going to be great. So tennis courts 1 and 2 will be ready for tennis season. Then we also are going to put some baby pool furniture in that's needed by the people that utilize that. We're going to replace that fence that is sort of like a chain link fence. We're going to match that up aesthetically to make improvements to match the other fence around the pool. One thing you really won't see, but it's important, is the golf controller irrigation system. That irrigation system that we have is in need of improvement. We're going to have to invest some money in that over the next 4 or 5 years, but we're starting out with the controllers. Right now, there's certain places where you turn the water on this hole and the sprinklers down 3 holes down the way there, and you can't even see the water come on. You know, if you ever go out to water your yard, you can sort of adjust it to the way you need it. But in their case, they turn it on and just hope and pray that it's working the way it ought to work. So we're going to be replacing those. That's a big expense as well. And then we have some contingency that we always put aside because there's always stuff that comes up. And then I mentioned the capital reserve. So looking out into the future years, some of the things that we have planned, continued renovation of the tennis courts, 3 and 4 next year. We need to get some pickleball courts in here. Who's a tennis pickleball player? Right. We need to get pickleball courts, and we're working on that. And we're hopeful that they'll invent a pickleball that doesn't make as much noise. That's a slight little problem because, you know, if we're going to build the pickleball courts down below the pump house, there's been a lot of lawsuits that have occurred in private clubs because of pickleball. But I think it's important. It's the fastest growing sport. I mentioned the golf irrigation system. Plan on spending another $564,000 next year. And then if you look out in the years ahead, you know, we got kitchen equipment, more golf irrigation improvements, tennis courts, tennis clubhouse, golf irrigation, clubhouse roof. And then eventually we'll have to do just some basic maintenance. So this isn't in stone. This is just sort of a guideline framework. And this committee is continuously looking at what the club's needs are. So as you can see, we're going to be spending a lot of money. These things are going to be, hopefully, if we can achieve our goals on membership, there won't be an assessment associated with all these. That's at least my vision. There is one item that we're looking at right now. It's in the early exploratory stages. Gant, we formed a subcommittee of the long-term planning committee, and he's got a committee working and exploring the need, or not the need, but the options for a new pool facility. When we did that, we got one of the best pools in the city, but we got one of the worst snack bar, you know, kitchens of anybody in the city. So we really need to upgrade that at some point. And we're looking at a lot of options on whether we do something there, or we do something over on the side, whether we build it just for the pool, or whether we expand it for use for larger banquets, potentially as a revenue source. So they're working on that. We'll have more information to share with you on that down the road. That could be a fairly expensive project, obviously, but we would like to, you know, get that done over the next 2 or 3 years for sure. So that's exciting. One other thing that I sort of have a vision of, and I've been working with Jerry Lurch on it. She's sort of helping me and taking the lead on it, is really like to form a memorial fund. You know, we've got a lot of people that we love and care about, a lot of family members that they're no longer with us, but had great memories out here. And, you know, we've got a lot of trees out there with plaques and benches and this, that, and the other. We want to try to formalize that program and make it bigger and broader and better, and to honor those, you know, people that have come before us. And so, you know, we're gonna catalog all the stuff we have, so we'll know what memorials we currently have. And Jerry's already got that list. But my vision really is to have something that's a little bit more concise and structured, you know, and nice. You know, some of these wrought iron benches are nice, but my vision would be to have something up here by where the well is, and make that sort of like a memorial courtyard with a lot of bricks and walls and benches, concrete benches, and perhaps an 18-hole practice. It would be more like a real putt golf, where you could actually go up and have 18 holes and participate and utilize it. You know, have some fire pits up there, have it as a usable space, and make that a part of this memorial where people make donations for this. We put them in a separate fund, and that covers the cost of that. There would be brick pavers with memory, honor of, and those kind of things. So it'd be clean and nice. And I think that's something that we're working on. So stay tuned for that. If anybody has any thoughts or ideas about that, you know, let us know. Get a little long-winded. I know question and answers is really why you're here, but I'll get to that in a minute. Hopefully this is productive and useful information for you. A lot of people have talked about Troon. You know, why do we have Troon? What is this thing? Do they own the course? I mean, why are they in charge? Why are they leading us? Aren't we a private club, this, that, and the other? So I wanted just to share a few things with you about our Troon partnership. First and foremost, we own Hunting Creek Country Club as members, all of us in here. Troon does not own any part of it. They manage the course on our behalf. We make the decisions as a club, as members, as a board, and they utilize. They're the leading, as I mentioned earlier, hospitality and golf management company in the world. We utilize their resources to manage our club. So first and foremost, that's the deal with Troon. We signed a contract back in April of 2019 with them, and basically we pay them a little bit over $10,000 a month. And that seems like a lot for those services, but that includes a lot of different things. One thing that they do, which saves us dollar for dollar, is they do all our accounting and payroll processing. That in itself, they provide all the financial reports. That in itself is about $100 to $110,000 a year with the elimination of having to have somebody hired to do that with wages and benefits. They also pull all our employees actually are contracted. They're Troon employees. They work for us, but they're Troon employees. And the benefit that you have from that is they've got thousands of employees. So as a result of that, workers' comp, they pull all their employees across all their companies they manage and own into one pool. And it results in us having a lot less expensive workers' comp cost. If we had to carry that on our own, based on our experience, unfortunately, we had a couple of pretty serious accidents, one on the golf course and one here in the clubhouse. And that would be a lot, that would be a big expense for us. So we get the benefit of that. It's probably savings of $78,000 or $80,000 a year. The golf cart lease, it's a purchasing power. They buy a lot of stuff. So we get a benefit from the purchasing power. On the golf course leases, we saved about $20,000. Golf course equipment, another $22,000. Chemicals and fertilizer, we save $6,000-7,000 a year on chemicals and fertilizer. So those are some of the quantitative things that they provide for us, but they also do a lot qualitatively as well. And that would be just their expertise in managing private clubs. Delivery. I wonder what everybody was doing. UPS guy. I wonder what that was about. But anyway, one of the things will be hiring. We got Ryan Sanders. Ryan, thanks for being here this morning. I think we got the best pro anywhere. So thanks, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan. Glad you're here. Because of the reputation of Troon and the network, that's why Ryan's here. So we're fortunate for that. Zeke came here 3 years ago. He was with the Troon system down in Alabama. We got Troon. We got Zeke from Troon. We wouldn't have had that. They have a source of experts and professionals. And Zeke, we're glad you're here too, buddy. You're doing a great job. Yeah. And then also Jason, who is our superintendent, we got him from Troon as well. So a lot of great things from a hiring standpoint. They do all our human resources because the employees work for them. That's from hiring, onboarding, training, policies and procedures, conflict resolution, performance appraisals, benefits, compliance, and all those things. Then they've got expertise in all these different areas: food and beverage, membership, marketing, golf course, pro shop merchandising. They provide a lot of benchmarking data. And lastly, it would be risk avoidance. I had a hard time getting that one out, but that having them and having a big company like that just allows us to avoid some of the risk associated with running a company. We're about $5.5 million revenue company. I mean, we are a company if you look at it from a financial standpoint. The last thing is, and people maybe didn't think this was going to be a big benefit for us, but because we're in the Troon network, we get to utilize some of all the Troon courses around the country. They have hundreds of courses around the country. As a matter of fact, getting ready to go out to Scottsdale next week, and we're going to be playing on a lot of the Troon courses. We had 445 rounds at discounts for our members in various parts of the country. So I think that's a great benefit as well. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit just about membership engagement and connectivity. As I mentioned earlier, what makes a great club and what makes us all enjoy it is seeing people having a good time and utilizing our facilities and attending events. So I think where you all are here, that's demonstration. That's a testament to how much you care and how much your involvement in the club is. I see a lot of you utilizing, eating, playing golf, utilizing our food and beverage. But here's a few things I've listed. Just, let's all stay positive. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but it's not for lack of effort and for trying. So just keep a positive attitude. Utilize our facilities. I know a lot of you do. There's a lot of people that don't use it as much as maybe. I know people are busy, but let's utilize all our facilities and enjoy the experience. Make Hunting Creek your preferred dining location. We really want to have more people utilizing our food and beverage. And we have to do our part. We get that. We have to make it such that you desire to come here, but that's going to be very important. Schedule your banquets for personal and business functions. Schedule them here. You know, I talked about wanting to increase our banquet revenue and needing to get people up here. If you have a business function or a personal function, many of you use it. I know Kevin Gardner is having a big party for Marissa. What? Was it a surprise? I was doing pretty good there for a while. I thought it was on a roll. Don't tell anybody, okay? Wow. Sorry. Well, you're surprised right now, right? Don't ask him about it. Just act surprised. Promise? All right. I'm sorry. All right. Invite your family members and guests to use the club. Create a legacy of membership. You know, all of us have kids. Bring them to the club, get them enjoying the club, and hopefully they'll ultimately be a member. Participate in all the great events that Barb and her team are planning, and introduce yourself to people that you don't know that you see at the club. And if you want to, join a committee or run for the board. So those are a few things that will make our club better. So again, thank you all. Thank the board for your passion, your energy. One person I didn't mention earlier when I was doing all the introductions, and I just looked down there, Tom Sanders. So Tom, as everyone knows, had a great run the last 5 years, did a tremendous job as our leader. And I'm fortunate to have him beside me as the past president at the board meetings and just as a friend. So thanks, Tom. All right. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna turn it over to Tom now for question and answers. I don't have an email or a cell phone number, so no, in all sincerity, we want to be completely transparent on everything. We have nothing to hide. If there's any additional information you all want to dig deeper into, Zeke and I will sit down with you and Greg and go through anything you want to go through. We're just trying to make this club better. We're not going to be perfect, but we want to hear your comments and thoughts, and as a group, we'll make this place better. And I will provide my email and phone number. Gets my better judgment. But anyway, with that, let's start out with the any questions anyone has.
Where's Kevin Gardner? Might want to call him.
Golly, I feel really bad about that. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Hi. As you've pointed out, we have a big, wonderful club, almost full membership. It is a fun-loving club. We love to party and have fun. We love our beverages, and we consume a lot of beer, wine, colas. But with that, we produce a lot of empty beverage containers. And I would like to see our club become more socially responsible and start recycling those items.
Great idea. You're right on the mark on that. As a matter of fact, 40% of our revenue in food and beverage is alcohol and beer and wine. And that is a proud statistic in the whole Troon organization, 40%. But in all sincerity, that's an easy fix, and we've talked about that, and we'll do that. We'll pursue that. So thank you.
And Don, as we talked about that, Zeke is already, he's not here right now, but that's already being looked at. Just to let you know. Oh, there, yeah.
Well, I'm seeing if we can pop up on the track.
Hold on a second. Yeah, Mr. Jim.
Is there any on a noise suppression opportunity for the back system? Like on a Friday after It's very loud, a lot of people are in there.
Right.
Is there any way to suppress to some degree? Which reverberates.
That's a great point. I know it's been brought up. I'll say a few things, then maybe turn over to Zeke on that, or anybody else that has any comments or has been working on that. But we did get some pricing on some, acoustical barriers on the wall, and we were really shocked at how expensive they were. But that's a good point. I mean, I know it gets loud, like last night in there, it gets really loud. But let us tee that back up and see what we might be able to do on that. Yeah. And we'll report back on that. Let's.
You're right. To do it properly and aesthetically pleasing, it's a large. We were thinking it'd probably be a fourth or a fifth number we got back. It is something to continue to work towards.
Yeah, good point, because it is loud.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
is there a way? A lot of us have kids in here, they're getting older, they're in their 20s, that we can try to incorporate our children in a membership, whether it's a junior membership or it's a less expensive membership, to get our kids in the door who are in their 20s, so that they'll spend their 20s and 30s, give them easier access to becoming a full member. So if you have children in your 20s, sons, daughters, whatever, somehow make it easier for them to access the membership, whether it's a discount on the regular dues or whatever, so that our kids, we just keep reinforcing and getting our children growing up here and joining the membership.
That's a great point. And what I mentioned earlier about just legacy, it's important for clubs, private clubs like ours, to have.
Like if you have a son making 50, 60, 70,000 a year, but he can't afford all what we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
We somehow figure out a way to allow them access and grow into it till eventually they can pay full dues.
Absolutely. That's a great point, and something we have talked about. And we're going to get some information from Troon and some of their other clubs and see what other clubs are doing in that category. Because it is important, to your point, people in their 20s can't afford, the initiation fee and maybe the ongoing cost. So we'll look into that and get back to you. Thank you. Good point.
To that point, any legacy, it is automatically a 20% discount off that initiation fee. And we are looking at, to your point, Ashley, a big problem with the junior members, especially legacy junior members, is that initial number up front, that initial initiation fee. So we're looking at ways to allow them to spread that over, say, a 5-year period. So yes, they would join as junior members. They would get a 20% discount immediately off that initiation fee and be able to spread that over a 5-year period. It gives them a lot better opportunity to be able to do that. So yeah, that is absolutely something we're not only looking into, but it's something we are actually pursuing pretty heavily.
Thanks, Ash.
In case you don't know me, I'm Chip Swartz. I've been a member here for 51 years. And I soon joined the 90 club later on this year. But a couple of years ago, I brought it up to you, Tom, or to the board. Those of us who've had long time service or been members and have reached a certain age, to reward these people to continue to be members, but to do away with their dues. By that, most of my friends who no longer play golf have resigned because they didn't live out here or couldn't afford the 325 senior dues. To give this a consideration, I, for one, I can't drive anymore, or I can drive, but my kids won't let me. But I would love to continue to come on out here and utilize the dining facilities. I've done that for, like I say, 51 years. I've given up all my bonds. I just, there's a very small group of us older folks that would continue to be members of the club. But if not, to do away with dues. We would pay for anything that we would utilize in the sense of golf or dining. We don't get any other benefits, but simply we would not be paying dues. And I wish you give this some consideration.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Schwartz. Yeah. We really value the rich history and the legacy, you know, that we have with, as I mentioned earlier, members like you and others that have made this club what it is through all those years. That's a long time. So we'll look into that and get back to you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Boyer. I just have a couple more suggestions just to talk about, or maybe you have talked about. I know we struggle a little bit with staffing, which has caused some variations in the schedule of the restaurant areas and stuff. And Tuesdays in particular, I'm partial to that because a bunch of the guys I golf with, we come out on Tuesdays, but we really like this bar area over here. And if there's a stepping stone that's beyond that outside bar that maybe we still can't open the whole club, it would be great if that could be open for golfers to come afterwards and just have one bartender or somebody serving food there. It's just a little bit better to be able to come in the club and enjoy it versus just a station out there in the patio where, I mean, I know we're going to have a covered patio, which will be really great. But, you know, sometimes it's just nice to sit in here and watch TV and have an inside atmosphere. So just a suggestion, if you can open that on the days that we're not able to have full dining, great. Or later, if that can be a more of a, you know, golfers retreat area. There's some colorful conversation that goes on after golf sometimes. And it would be nice sometimes to have that conversation away from families that bring their kids up. That's another suggestion for having that open. Not me though, not foot of the cross, foot of the cross. And then to the point of maybe bringing the 20 and 30-year-old kids in. I've been to clubs where the restaurant facility is more open to non-members, and living out here in Prospect, you got to really love Mexican food to go out and eat all the time. Really love it because there's 4 restaurants like right here. But I think it would be not only a good revenue stream, maybe of children who are non-members, or you can step it up even more than that if you have grander ideas, but to have people have the ability to come in here and have dinner or have a couple meals just to introduce them to the club. I'm sure there's probably some courtesy stuff for potential members, but just that idea that bringing people in to see the club, get a, no pun intended, a taste for it, to later pay that 15 grand to be a member.
Yeah. Great point, Chris. Thank you. Well, you got any comments on that, Zeke?
Yeah, I'll be brief, but agreed. And right now, just kind of with demand, we don't have a necessity to have both dining rooms open. So kind of to your point about colorful commentary, when this dining room is open, then the design of Partridge Lounge is to be 21 and off. And then once we get into March, we will start staffing Tuesdays, the turn bar in that area. And so you'll have a beverage option, and always going to work towards getting Tuesdays open, but that's a larger challenge in itself, just from a staffing standpoint and other things. And the focus certainly is just also being fiscally responsible of what we're doing. And part of the reason, like I said, that we managed January and February how we are with the 2 dining rooms is just trying to be really smart about how we're spending our dollars, especially in food and beverage.
Sure. And big leap. If you're able to add 1 or 2 employees, it probably isn't enough to open full dining room, either one. That'd be awesome.
Understood. Yeah, no, we're on the same page completely.
Any other questions? All right.
Oh, boy, you could not do easy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. You know, I think, like I said earlier, there are things that we need to improve upon. There are suggestions. We want to hear your all suggestions. We want to make this the best it can be. So again, just thank you for taking time out of your Saturday morning to be here. It's just a testament to the fact that you love this place like I do and we all do and have a passion for it. It's our club. We're on the board. We're leading that charge, but it's really all of ours part to make this place better. So again, thank you. I appreciate your attention and hopefully you found this to be useful and productive. So thank you. All right.
She's so good. Yes. All right. Not sure. All right, but thank you. Yes.
Hey, Scott.
Yes, I for getting you with your next year. And I got back. And when I got back,
Yeah.